Hey, freaking good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is a call voiceover. I tried to record an OBS twice and it had zero audio. Why? I have no idea.
Hey, freaking.
Well, let's get afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be in regards to Rook on the 7th rank and the 5th or 6th part of the series of 25
They are
of
so
the Endgame
important.
Killswitch. This is going to be about Rooks on the 7th and dynamics of peace activities. This is fair for advanced students, casual beginners who are trying to learn Endgame like concepts. So let's see, freaking doggone Endgame nomination, peace harmony. We're gonna talk about the 7 rank absolutes and modern peace activity, and also theoretical positions and how to partially set them up or fully set them up to get an advantage. So, very simply, in high level play, the 7th rank or 2nd rank for black is referred as the diving board, or the absolute objective square. Once a rook reaches this rank, it achieves 3 strategic objectives simultaneously. Its restriction, it cuts off the enemy king from the rest of the board. Attrition attacks the base of the enemy pawn chain where pawns are unusually undefended. And a tactical threat creates immediate meeting threats or tactical motifs against the back rank. Now, part problem. Peace activity versus material value. The common mistake of valuing pieces based upon their static value of material. Rook equals 5, bishop equals 3, knight equals 3, and the endgame activity is the only true currency. A bad bishop trapped behind pawns is effectively 0. Freaking 0. And very simply, 5 advantage by 0 points. An active knight or central outpost could be more than a passive rook, depending upon. The goal of the trio of doggone coordination harmony should be your pieces should never step on each other's toes, or should never crisscross one another, or interfere. Your bishop is on g2, your pawn should be on light squares to allow maximum scope, or bishop on down short pawn on light squares. And paraphylactic, putting your pieces while simultaneously taking your opponent's best squares in the battery, putting heavy pieces of rooks and queens in the same file to multiply the attacking power of one square dominating a file. Let's go to the stabilization analysis. When your pieces are active and coordinated, the engine evaluation will often jump even the material is equal. This is your mobility and number of legal squares the piece can move up to is the primary factor in engine search for analytics. Active rook, active bishop, active knight. Active rook, at least 5 or 7 in mobility. This is principle. Active bishop should be a true major diagonal, so one major diagonal uncontested. Active knight should be within 2 rows of reaching any 4 essential squares in the center. This is me going to the opening, but I don't feel like doing the notation and the commentary and basically explaining the opening. I trade off to get the bishop paired for a bad pawn structure as compensation. And this is me explaining it. I would rather get the bishop pair and play against 2 bishop pairs or 1 knight in a semi-open position. And I should have took that pawn and also evaluating the mistakes I made. I should have took, and freaking if black wasn't careful, right, to take that pawn, only black could really point out sort of what be defending that pawn. This is me just showing the ideas of what I want to do. Sort of the ideas I was thinking of in the sense. Because takes knight doves, and I made the mistake of not taking the open hanging pawn, which is very important. I mean, so I castled, which is a mistake. Why? Because I didn't take the free material. And the knight is relatively pinned to that pawn because that pawn is behind. It was the only thing that's protecting the knight. So, the primary lesson of this is put position on the 7th rank. Then my opponent, due to such an open position in the bishop pair and the hanging pawn and the lack of development by their end, they are never able to blunder because they don't understand the complication and the complexities of this endgame, and they are such under this pressure with the rook on the d file, bishop takes pawn, knight make it a beautiful outpost or blockade, freaking the rook centralize itself. It's just pandemonium. And as going to go, I'm going to summarize for you guys, is there's no pressure on the 7th rank is more valuable than the pawn. By pushing your rook in the center, the enemy attack the pawn, really the ability to coordinate. That's when became a tall pawn at f8 and the king became a spectator and useless. And one point in this video, there's a very odd checkmate where freaking white freaking doggone, I could have found a checkmate fortune too, to his very odd symmetry of geometry. And let's talk about it. If I was able to really take my time and think and actually really go for the mating and purely calculate, I would have most likely found it. But it was such a counterintuitive and no human-like move. The proposed GM versus the good catalyst engine. The GM says how to compose against via pattern recognition. The king is safe here. The engine is composed against exhausted the search tree. I should put my bishop on f8 and make it stuck. At an f8, the bishop goes exact 2 squares needed for mate. There is 0 variation where it is captured. The next 4 panels, therefore it's optimal coordination. See now the way of talking is so different. By applying a numerical pressure as I did, I eventually forced the game to a state where the human way to win it. And the engine would be in the diverge. I chose a path along one course. The engine chose a path to cylindrical geometry. And now we go ahead and get into, as you saw, the mechanics of the coordination. And now we're going to go into converting theoretical knowledge into practical ones soon. And as you see, this is a pawn. Now we're going to go to a pawn action. Go to sdcforged.org. We are allowed to see the other side. You can count like in the description, like, comment, subscribe, and share this with somebody, and give feedback, social support. Thank you for watching, no matter how low. But if I want this, and what impact on the world, I truly appreciate it. And truly thank you for that. So this is me now going executing my plan. And finally, I see the bishop takes the pawn. I'm going to go for a wedge pawn, so I have to be careful not get that ring checkmated, as I'm going to explain. So now then, I just tried to take the free pawn, now I can outside pass pawn, the a file, with the rook defending it. So it's all of your coordination of the bridge too. And I was thinking of all different types of ideas to do now, what to do. I could have just simply simplified and pushed this outside pass pawn on the a file to make it okay as like bridge. See how I'm using the practical knowledge of the theory and trying to practically apply it to the game. Right? Because that outside pass pawn, the rook can take the pawn, and now I even starting to use the steal-like logic practically in the game in partial format. Even though there's no Philidor-like position to counteracting, it's still the bridge and the rook and the a file. Then I just pinned in an absolute instant king, rook slides over, and now I say if you're gonna take, I'm gonna take with a counter check and win your rook. It took me some time to calculate and say I had to sacrifice the bishop here to make progress. Stand by. Gosh. Skew that wins the rook and pull. Hey, when you gonna be on? Oh, I know. I didn't realize that. Oh. Explaining the geometrical meaning. Yes. Love you. Bye. I'll try to take a call. Forget. Now, let's see. Now we're going too soon as I'm explaining the craziness of the geometrical meaning. I was forced. Which was so odd. I don't know if I could have up there. My creativity, I just don't want to take my time and not really, I didn't really care. I didn't really want to go through an absolute reverse me. I mean, I just noticed I'm eating that better than I can try to. No way to try to me. And this is me just going through a bunch of variations of how this is just a force me. Where the freak is my doggone freaking headphone? basically showing all variations of the format of checkmate. So, and the pawn is the MVP for this. Now we're going to skip over to the other section. I'm going to just probably put some background music. I put a more human-like move and my opponent resigns. Still forced mate. However, I would have probably just pushed my pawn to get a guaranteed checkmate. Now I'm going to put some video music in the background. We're going to transition to the other part. See you then. The secondary part for the primary dominant lesson is going to be the study of now personal setting and geometrical conversion, converting theoretical knowledge into methods. The strategic velocity theory as a tool set. High-level playing theory is not just a script to be followed blindly; it's a destination. I understand that search trees are prone to known toward conservation of games. You're going to set the boards of geometry, position forces, and your plus group and zero computer. You don't need to remember every variation, the exact theoretical knowledge to do it. But you need to recognize that moving recognition and the related triggers tell you where the position can be steered into two straight states. His position is going to be its ultimate checkmate in slow motion. To set up this game, you must work backwards from the first square. You have to have a pawn and king, two rooks. One for black, one for white. Pawn is advanced to the 7th rank. Place your king at the frozen square G and AH in front of the pawn. Use the rook to cut off the enemy king by at least one file, so rook on the second rank, to eventually force promotion. And to stop the king from invading, and eventually converting the position with supporting. One time for third, second, third rank. Is the most critical pick of the theory. Bringing your rook to the 4th rank so you constantly rook lift up and always gain accessibility to eventually set up a potential blockade, or to simply just block the check from the rook, from the other rook, etc. As we set up this position, we're going to look at the next position we're going to work on is freaking the Philidor. For instance, on the Philidor, set up this theoretical drawn endgame. So if you're even down a pawn and king and pawn, so king, rook, pawn versus king and pawn. It is the most efficient way to zero a zero valuation and minimum calculation. It's the best. And that's what we'll do this. Over to the Philidor solution. Next section. Now we're gonna go and set up the Philidor position now, the defensive fold. You get your king in front of the enemy pawn. As you set in this position, I completely forgot to put one of the rooks. In the game, the rook is always gonna be not on the third rank. It's gonna be on the freaking not first rank. Nope. Freaking no, because I completely forgot about adding another extra rook. But it's dummy. So as you see me struggle to set up this position, which is a little embarrassing, this is how you set up the Philidor. Get your king in front of the sixth rank pawn immediately blockaded. You get a place your rook on the third rank. If black is again against the white pawn at e5, this prevents enemy king from reaching the sixth rank. So in the practical sense now, this is just end draw. Why? Because black is never able to invade without the rook sliding up to the sixth rank to prevent black from getting in. And this is me continuously trying to set it up. And as you saw, talk about third rank execution, and now we're going to use practical application. What do you use? You gotta pick specific pieces of theory to win. This is the hallmark of a geometrical and competent professional player. I'm not trying to play the perfect book. I'm trying to create a board state with the opponent. Probability of error is maximized. The partial Lucena, even if you don't build a full bridge and you just saw this game, my rook is behind the past 8 pawn. It might be taking the 8 pawn at the 7th rank of the rook. I didn't build the full bridge. I simply knew how to cut off the king and have that other rook in the A file to support back in the other game. Opponent's game out for the theory. Also simply know how the king belongs in front of the pawn when I draw many aims or going to guard the 8th rank in full. So this is just now me showing why this is a draw. Explaining knowledge. No one can make progress without the king is playing an important job, the rook is doing an important job. The rook's job is to stop the king from getting in. And simply just explaining the theory of what I'm doing. You see how the rook is stopping the king from getting in. And if the king tries to go to the other side and get too far away from the pawn, then one of those pieces will hang. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys learned something freaking new. Watch the rest of this video with some music in the background. That's it. That's how you apply it. Pick bits and pieces, and apply it to your game. Put your rooks in the 7th rank, and take free hanging pawns. That's just me.